Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to 8 Components of Credit Repair. We have Kevin Lewis, and I just want to make sure that I am pronouncing the name of your organization correctly. Premisien Credit.
Premisien. I named it such because I want people to ask me how to pronounce it. It's a conversation piece. So Premisien is how you pronounce it.
Premisien Credit Repair Company. My name is Alvarado-Rodriguez from Innovative Education Consulting Services. And I am going to pass it over to our wonderful host, Kevin, so he can tell us exactly how to fix our credits and spend other people's money. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you guys for giving me your time this evening. I hope to not be in your way and be intrusive in your life, but I wanted to kind of give you guys some insight into credit, what's on your credit, and give me a second. Let me put my eyes on. Give you guys some insight into credit and really the 8 components that make up a good credit profile. And we talk about, so I talk about this with clients. A lot of people are out here and they are looking at credit monitoring utilities, whether it be from your credit card, you have a credit card that provides credit monitoring, or you're using one of the free services or even one of the paid for services. And people are saying, in fact, I just had a client call me not 5 minutes ago, say, you know, I'm looking at my credit report, but I'm not sure why I can't get my score up to 750, 800. And I'm saying it's because you've got to understand the 8 components that go into your credit profile and not concentrate so much on the scores in as much as the profile. So Cynthia, this is something that is going to be counterintuitive, right? Because a lot of people are saying, I'm looking at my scores. The banks go by scores. The mortgage companies go by scores. And I'm saying it's not the scores, it's the credit profile. It is what you, it is these 8 components that make up your credit profile. And if you're good, or what we call green, in each one of these 8 components, your scores will be fine.
Yes, because we have just different types.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to talk about those 8 components. So you guys will start life here. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right, very well. So most people know the 5 components that impact your credit score. When I talk to people, or many people, when I say most people, I ask people all the time, you know, what are the 5 components? And I get a variety of answers, but many people know that there are at least 5 components that make up your credit score. And so here they are laid out. Now, this is the thing that trips people up, is because you might know these, but knowing how to use these and how to impact these positively may be a challenge. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna try to make this as interactive as possible. I know we're on Zoom, and in a classroom this might work differently, but I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible. So I'll say Zakia, and if I ask you, if I say your name and I mispronounce it, please don't accept my mispronunciation. Please correct me. So Zakia, is it Zakia?
It's Zakia.
Zakia?
Yes.
Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay. So Zakia.
Yes.
Payment history. You know what that is. I'm not going to ask you what that is. That's a softball question. My question to you is, what does your payment history need to be in order for you to have a good rating in that category?
You mean percentage, or like
percent,
exactly?
not percentage. So let me let me ask the question differently. Can you have any late or missed payments on your credit report and still have a good credit profile?
Yes.
Okay. How is that possible?
You, I don't know.
Okay, no
I
problem.
don't
Not
know.
knowing is a good answer. It's a good answer as any.
Isn't it
So
12 months, consecutive payments without any late payments, on your credit report?
so you said 12, right?
I say 12, yes.
All right, keep. I'm not gonna say yes or no. I just want you to stay there. All right. So
Okay.
payment history, you guys know, is how well you pay your bills, and the best credit reports obviously have no late or missed payments. But I'm going to tell you how to fix it if you do, and I'm going to tell you how to stay good even if you don't have to fix it. All right. Credit utilization, is that Diane? Credit utilization. What's credit utilization? And it is Diane Gardner, right?
I believe so. She might have stepped away. You want to call someone else?
Yep. Damaris, while I got you, you might as well, since we're talking here. What's credit utilization?
It's how much credit you're using, because you don't want the credit bureaus to think that you are living off of credit. If it's really high, then that means that you look like you're basically living off of credit cards.
All right. What should it be? What should your credit utilization percentage? What percentage should it be?
I try to keep mine less than 15%.
Okay. Good stuff. Won't say yes or no. We'll just say we'll
I think
get to.
I think there's a question there. Samantha, I
Yep.
think you raised your hand.
The whole time I'm like, I know. I feel like a kid in high school.
So Samantha, since you got it, would you say something different than what Damaris said?
It's supposed to be under 30%.
Under 30%. Damaris says she keeps hers at 15, so that's definitely under 30%. I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just going to say those are good answers. All right. Length of credit history. Now, this is the thing that bothers me the most in the FICO scoring and Vantage scoring models because of how this impacts your credit. So the length of credit history is the average time that you've had all of your credit accounts. And those are just the credit accounts that are showing up on your credit report. And I'm going to give you a crude example of how this works and how it works against you, and talk a little bit about why this bothers me so much. So let's say you only had one credit card on your credit report, and you had that credit card for 10 years. And let's say you had forget about the score. Let's say you had a great profile, but the only thing that was on your credit report was this 10-year-old credit card that you've taken very good care of. You've always paid it on time. You've never had a utilization go past 30%. And it's, like I said, it's the only thing. So you go apply for, and you are approved for another credit card. Once you get that other credit card, they're going to take the 10-year history from the first credit card, the 0-year history from the second credit card, and divide it by the number of credit cards, which is 2. So that means your credit history, or your length of credit, went from 10 years to 5 years. Now, now I will pose this to the group and anybody can answer. If you want to use the hand raise emoji, go right ahead. What is a good credit history?
$5 to 7 years.
So I'll leave it right there. Won't say yes or no. Just say that's a good answer. All right. New credit inquiries. These are the other name is inquiries. So these are the amount of inquiries that you have on your credit report. And obviously, the more inquiries that you have, the more damaging it could be. Okay. And then the fifth thing that most people know about is the credit mix. That's the types of credit that you have. And there are 3 categories of credit. Does anybody know what the 3 categories of credit are?
I'm gonna guess because I'm a nerd. Um, I'm thinking credit, right? So credit cards, mortgage, and probably like car loans and stuff like that.
All right, so you're giving me two examples of the types, and I'll give you the names. So you said credit cards first.
Uh-huh.
Credit cards is called revolving credit. Revolving credit is any credit that you use and you pay based on what you use and the interest rate on what you are using. Installment credit is you pay the same amount every month, no matter what the interest rate is. And an example that you gave is a car loan, a mortgage, student loan, personal loan. But then there's a third that most people don't pay attention to, and this is why our credit reports typically get messed up and why people are saying to me, I'm in the 680 to 700 range, but I'm not sure how to get to 750. This third category is typically one of the reasons why they're not there. Can anybody tell me what that third category is? It's the mystery category.
Is it bills?
Yeah, that's a good answer. Not quite, but that's a good answer. This is an elusive category. It's an elusive category. So it's called open. That third category is called open. And open is a credit card that you have to pay the entire balance at a specified period of time. So you guys have seen the no preset limit cards. Amex, Discover are the two most notable, right? It's called a charge card most of the time, or it used to be called a charge card. Now it's called no preset limit cards, but they used to be called charge cards. And I don't know, I'm dating myself. If I'm sure none of you on this call are as old as me. So does anybody remember Diners Club? Nope. So Diners Club is the start of credit in this country, start of credit cards in this country. Diners Club was the first credit card created in this country back in 1950. So Diners Club is a charge card. You can use whatever you want, but you have to pay back the entire amount at a specified period of time. Today, you'll see that with Amex and Discover. All right. So now let's get into, those are the 5 that you guys know about, and we're going to get back to your answers in just a moment. Here are the 8 that make up, before I get to the 8, we talk about credit profiles. Most people talk about credit scores. Most people are concerned with credit scores. Here's the reason why I tell people not to concern yourself with credit scores as much as you concern yourself with credit profiles. Because credit scores fluctuate. So first of all, a credit score is a snapshot in time. Damaris, what I mean by that is, if I look at your credit scores today, and I look at your credit scores 2 weeks from now, they may be different. The reason they may be different is because if your credit utilization today was at 50%, your credit utilization 2 weeks from now is at 20%, your scores are going to be different. The other reason they may be different is because FICO is one of the companies that produces a credit score, the FICO score. And they have 9 different scoring models. They use 1 through 8 right now. 9 is a brand new one. And each one of those models uses a different scoring method to determine the scores. They place emphasis in different places. So I'll give you an example. If a creditor uses FICO 4, FICO 4 may place greater emphasis on credit card spending than it does on, or it may place greater emphasis on installment credit spending versus revolving credit spending. But FICO 8 may do the reverse. It may place greater emphasis on revolving than installment. So if you pull a FICO 4 and you pull a FICO 8, you're going to get totally different scores. How many of you, by show of hands, just hit the raise hand emoji, by show of hands, have looked at your credit scores in one place, looked at it in another place, and they were different? Yep, got it. Okay, that's because different creditors use different scoring models. And FICO, like I said, FICO has 9 of them. And then Vantage is the other company that does scoring models, and it has 4 of them. So if you go to one creditor and they're using FICO 4, and you go to another creditor and they're using Vantage 3, you're going to get totally different scores. And Samantha, here's the problem with that. The problem with that is you as a consumer don't know what your lender is going to use. And in some instances, the lender may use a combination. They may use a FICO 4 and a FICO 8. So I've seen mortgage companies look at your FICO 4 scores and then your FICO 8 scores. And based on those, they determine what they're going to loan you. Now, why would a mortgage company, somebody tell me, why would a mortgage company use 2 different FICO scoring models to determine whether or not you're going to get a loan?
Maybe it's to kind of like review their the credit to see how's it going, because I mean, I know that they use mine when I went to purchase a house. They use 3 actually, which I thought that was pretty weird. And when I asked, they said they are looking for the best one. You know, I don't know if that's true, but I'm thinking that maybe they were just looking at how I was using credit to just make sure to determine, you know, whether or not they were able to provide me with a loan.
So how do the banks make money?
Interest.
Interest.
Right?
Mm.
And you guys know that poor credit yields the potential for more interest than good credit, right? I'll go up, hold on a second. Oops. So here's an example of what I mean by poor credit has a greater potential for interest than good credit. This is a $200,000 mortgage. You can see that if a person has a 700 to 719 credit score, they're only going to pay an additional $7,000. But if somebody has a 620 to 674, they're going to pay an additional $86,000 for that same house. So if you got a 720 or better credit score, you're paying no additional cost. But if you have a 620 to 674, so let's say you have a 640, you're going to pay an additional $86,000 over 30 years. Over 30 years for that same exact house. That's a $200,000 mortgage. Now, so the banks make money off of interest. The reason they use different scoring models, a mortgage company may look at the different scoring models, they will tell you that they want to get the best one, but the truth of the matter is they're looking for the one that yields the worst results because they can charge you a higher interest rate. All right?
Is this the same for a vehicle, like when you purchase
Absolutely.
vehicles? Yeah. There's a question in the chat. Can you ask the lender which model they use, Kevin?
Absolutely. Now, here's the issue with that. A lot of times you're going to be talking to a representative that may not know, but you just keep asking until you get somebody that does. Hey, which model do you use to determine whether I'm going to get this loan or not, and what interest rate I'm going to get assessed? So, yep, that is why we don't concentrate on scoring models, because you can't determine who's going to use what. It's going to fluctuate, and it's a snapshot in time. So I tell people, let's create a great credit profile. And if we create a credit profile, it won't matter what scoring model the lender uses, all of your scores will be good. As the tide rises, so do all boats. So 8 data points. Now you guys know about the first 5. So the first 5 are listed here: payment history, credit utilization, credit age, new credit, credit mix. The 2 that were, I'm sorry, the 8th one is not listed here, and that is, I didn't put that here. It's judgments, because we'll talk about judgments separately. But here are the 7, and I'll talk about the 8th in a minute. The 7 data points that are on your credit report, or the 7 components that are on everyone's credit profile. Let me not say everyone's credit profile, because if you don't have the last 3, then you are in good shape. But the 8 components that you want to be concerned about on your credit report. So the first one is your payment history, and you said 12 months. No late or missed payments in the last 24 months will ensure that you get the most impact out of your score. So it's 24 months. So you want to have 24 months worth of, at minimum, 24 months worth of no late or missed payments. So if you miss a payment in January of 2023, then you're going to have to pay. First of all, your score is going to drop significantly. I've seen it drop as much as 60 points, depending on what that late or missed payment was on. But if you miss a payment in January of 2023, you need to make all of your payments on time or early for 24 months, 2 years, January, I'd go to February of 2025, in order for your payment history to be good. Obviously, this goes without saying, no late or missed payments on your credit report is going to get you the biggest and best impact. But if we slip up, not a problem. Just make sure you pay your bills on time. Here's the thing, though. If you fall on difficult times, financial times, you can call your creditors ahead of time. It's better to be proactive. Call your creditors ahead of time and say, let's just use a dramatic example. Let's say you lose your job. Call all of your creditors and tell them, I lost my job. I intend to continue to make payments. I have savings. I intend to continue to make payments on these credit cards or this loan or this mortgage. However, in the next month or so, I may end up making a late payment, and it may be 30 days late. I am asking that you give me grace and do not report that late payment to the credit bureaus. I promise that I'll make that payment in 45 days. Please don't report it to the credit bureaus. Now, they may tell you that they're going to assess you a late fee. That's fine. But ask them if they can refrain from reporting a late payment coming up on your credit reports. Make sure, of course, you're noting the person you spoke with. You can get the operator ID number, the time you talked to them, what they said. And if the first person you talk to can't guarantee that they're not going to report it, then the next person that you can talk to. And here's the deal. If you tell them that, they may tell you that we have to report it, but calling and being proactive will make it easier to get it removed. A creditor can remove anything that they want off the credit reports as long as they agree to do it in writing. So they can fill out what's called a universal data form to the credit bureaus, and I see your question, Angelique. They can report anything that you ask them to the credit bureaus as long as they fill out a universal data form, and they are willing to do that if you ask them nicely. So make sure you do it proactively, so that if you have to go back to them and say remove it from the credit bureaus, they will have a record of you calling and saying, hey, I'm gonna miss this payment, or I'm gonna make this payment late. I've asked you to not put it on the credit report, but since you did, can you now go remove it? And Angelique, your question is, can their response be sent to you in writing? As much as you can get on your credit, get everything in writing.
So I have a question as well.
Sure.
So let's just suppose that you have missed a payment
Mhm.
and you weren't proactive, right? And something happened and whatever, it just slipped, or maybe you just forgot to make the payment. Things happen.
Yeah.
Are you able to fight that late payment off your credit report, like report it as?
Not fight.
Mm,
Are you able to get it removed? Yes, but you do not want to go in with the fight mentality. You want to go in with the grace and humility mentality, because you made the payment late. That's factual. And the creditors are required to report factual and accurate information. So that is factual and accurate. But yes, you can get it removed by calling them and humbly saying, what I would do first is write a letter saying, hey, I know I missed this payment, or I made this payment late. I did make the payment though. Would you be willing to do a goodwill removal of that late or missed payment? Do it in writing, and then after you've mailed it, then call the company and say, I sent you a letter on January 15th asking for a goodwill removal. I'm now following up on that letter. Would you please do this for me? I know it was my issue. This is why I was in the hospital for a period of time, and I wasn't able to pay any of the bills while I was there, but I did make sure I made that payment. You must be current.
You've seen like positive outcomes from people do that, like a goodwill, to request goodwill removals.
We've gotten, it's what we do. So, and we've gotten late and missed payments removed, but the reason needs to be compelling.
Right,
So hospital, lost my job.
right. Something that makes sense. This is why.
Something that makes sense.
You have a question in the chat. There's someone that's raising a hand. So Cynthia asks us, what steps do you take to repair it if you already have bad credit?
And so Cynthia, that's the answer. In that category, the first step is to write them a letter asking goodwill removal. The second thing is to follow up with a call. And when you ask for that goodwill removal, in both instances, a compelling reason, an extremely compelling reason. Here's the deal though, you must be current. In order for them to do it, they're going to want you to be current. So if you've got 60 days worth of missed payments, don't try to call and get that first one removed. Make sure you are current, that you owe them no money, and then ask them for the goodwill removal. Samantha, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm happy you mentioned hospitals. I have 2 hospital bills on my credit, and I heard from someone that, they're not supposed to put that in collections or whatever. So I tried to dispute it, but they're denying my request.
Because that law was passed and it went into effect in July of 2022. Anything prior to July of 2022 can stay on there, and there was a limit. If it was $600 or less, they can't put it on the credit report. If it's more than that, they can still. So
Yeah.
my question to you is, what did that collections go in before July of 2022? And or was the amount greater than $600?
It's less than 600, but it was put in prior to July 2022. So that's probably what it is.
So Samantha, here's the challenge that I have with people on the internet and social media. Social media, trust but verify. Remember, social media, you have a short period of time to pass information. So a lot of people are passing information, but they're not giving the entire story. So the law is 600 or less, and anything prior to July of 2022 stays on. Anything after that can't go on.
Okay. And then how do I make those payments with them? Like, do I call Jefferson because that's the hospital, or do I call the collection? Like, I'm confused.
Call the collections agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta find out what it is.
Yep. And here's the deal. When you call the collections agency, if you're going to settle, make sure you get in writing that they're going to remove this from your credit report.
Okay. Okay.
Angelique, I saw
Alright,
your
well,
hand.
I was just gonna say Angelique has her hand raised. Go ahead, Angie.
Um, this was many, many, many moons ago. But I remember years ago, they used to have these conferences you could go to get into businesses. Do you remember back in the day where you can invest in like, I don't know, like candy machines or, little kind of toy machines or whatever, and you could put them inside of like barber shops and different places. And you could make money off of it because you were investing in that piece of equipment. And I guess whatever proceeds came from it belonged to you because that was your property. So years ago, I had went to this thing and I invested like $500 into this packet or whatever, and this business package. And then I changed my mind. I said, nah, I didn't want to do that. So when I went to get my money back, they credited somebody else's account. They didn't credit my account for the return. And I don't know, I think I was mad and I just didn't pay it because I wrote them letters. I went through all the, I guess what I was supposed to do for them to get it correct on their end. I think I even went to the Better Business Bureau and different things, but every so often it seemed like that same bill will try to backdoor and come my way again. Is that because they're selling that credit to different collection agencies and everybody's trying to still redeem it?
Yep, it's no surprise that if you had a collections, it got sold to a different collections agency and it just keeps getting sold because those collections agencies make profits off the sale. And so somebody's going to try to keep collecting until it becomes cost prohibitive for them to try to collect. So if 5 or 6 different collection agencies buy it, them trying to collect it won't make sense. It'll cost them too much. So you can either wait it out or you can dispute it, but you can either trade time for money or money for time. Settle it. If you just want to get it off the credit report, settle it. You can probably settle it for 30 to 50% of what you owe. If you just want to fight it, then yes, you can fight it. You're going to have to write letters back and forth, and that can take months because you have to send the letter. You have to wait for them to respond. If they respond and they prove that you indeed owe the debt, then you have to write another letter that shows that it got credited to somebody else. So that can take some time. But if you're willing to put the time in, you can get that removed, or it's possible that you can pay to settle it, or have them remove it. Let me see.
Yeah, but we're talking over 20 years ago. I don't even know why they're still trying to ask me. Trying to get it from me.
Are they allowed to? I mean,
Yeah, I thought after
but-
7 years.
Yeah, I thought it was like a statute of limitations, right? Angie? Like,
Yeah.
and I remember those candy machines. We used to get boxes delivered to our house. We were the people that put them together. It was
Oh, okay.
crazy. My mom used to like have this as a psychic. But we do have a question in the chat as well. And then there's someone else that's raising their hands. But let's go with the chat and then we can go with Miss Cynthia. So one of them is, can you dispute things on your credit report that has been there for 7 years or more?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the easiest thing to get off your credit report. If it's more than 7 years old, you just write a letter to the credit bureau saying, this debt is older than 7 years, please remove it. The Fair Credit Reporting Act says anything older than 7 years must be removed, should be removed from the credit report. Most people think it comes off automatically. Sometimes things just stay on the credit report because the credit bureaus don't pay attention to it. But that's a simple letter. They'll go in, they'll see that it's 7 years old, and they'll remove it.
So do you recommend just to wait for 7 years?
That depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get a mortgage and you're trying to get the best interest on that mortgage or a car loan, then no, because again, they're going to use that against you. But if you've got a mortgage, your car is, you're driving around something that you're going to be driving for the next 7 years, and you're not going to need that, you're not going to need any more lending. Yeah, wait them out. Again, the answer to your question, Damaris, was yes, it is legal for them to sell it, and once they sell it, it resets the date of what they call the date of last activity. So that 7 years starts over from the date of sale. So that debt could have been 6 years old, that collections could have been 6 years old, and then they sell it to another collections agency. It starts that 7 year period all over again.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Is that why they probably still was chasing me? Because they
Yep.
keep selling it.
That's exactly why.
Interesting.
All that drama for $500.
No, it doesn't make sense, does it? This is the credit game, though.
I know. I have another question if somebody else isn't in front of me.
No,
Yeah,
go
I have a
ahead.
question.
You can go ahead and then I'll pass it over to Cynthia. If that's
I don't know if
okay.
this is a question or this is a compliment to you. I just feel like now, are you going to talk to us at some point about a workshop or, a process that can start moving us into this mindful space to start cleaning up our credit? Or is this like a one and done series where you be back again? Like, where do we go from here?
So I will come back as often as Damaris will have me. I
All the
will tell
time?
you, I do a credit workshop with a real estate company called Genuine Property Solutions. The second Friday of every month at the Free Library. If you're in Philadelphia, we're at the Free Library the address is 201 South 40th Street. I'm actually going to be there tomorrow.
When
So-
is it 201 South 40th?
201 South 40th Street. It's the Free Library. It's across the street from the Panera
McDonald's.
Yep, the McDonald's. That's exactly right.
I
201
wondered
South.
if that was still open.
So I'll
guess
be
it
there
is.
tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to be talking about credit utilization, and it's a series, so we'll be doing once a month. But like I said, Damaris, I am, as you've said, I'll come back as often as you like. If you are a tactile individual and you need to be sitting in a room, come see us at the Free Library, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. every second Friday of the month.
I think we're gonna invite Kevin back to do a series with us, right? And we could just keep it like that. No, I'm just kidding. But the Free Library is tomorrow, 201, but I'm really not kidding. Let's go with Miss Cynthia for the sake of time, because it's already 6:40. I'm pretty sure other folks have some more questions. And I know that you also have a slide with your information too that you can share, right, at the end. Okay. Miss Cynthia, you had a question?
Yes. Is there any way that I could combine all my debt into one payment?
You can do debt consolidation. So Cynthia, here's what I'm going to tell you, the criteria for determining debt consolidation and some of the issues that you want to be concerned about. So first, the answer to your question is yes, that's called debt consolidation. And it's a true debt consolidation if the company is going to give you a loan for the entire amount of debt that you have. So Cynthia, I would, let's say you just wanted to do a debt consolidation for your credit cards, right? You may have other bills that you want to include, but let's just use the credit card example. Let's say you've got 9 credit cards and you're paying different times of the month for each credit card, and you just want to make one payment. Go to a debt consolidation company. They're going to give you a loan for the total amount of your credit card debt. You'll use that loan to pay off the debt. And here's the deal though. You need to know what the interest rates on all of your cards are, and the interest rate on the debt consolidation loan has to be less than the average debt of those credit cards. And you got to be careful because there are a lot of companies out there, a lot of debt consolidation companies out there who will tell you that the interest rate is 10%, but it's a variable rate. So it could jump up to 30% or 29%. And if your credit cards, in that example, the collective interest rate on your credit cards is 22%, then you're going to end up paying more for the debt consolidation loan than you're paying in your credit cards. So that's a bad
Okay.
financial deal. Now, it may help you as far as time is concerned and when you pay your bills, but that's a bad loan. So make sure, one, that the debt consolidation company gives you a rate that's less than the consolidated or the average interest rate of those cards. Two, make sure they are going to do a loan and it's not a pay for debt service. And what I mean by that is there are companies that say they are debt consolidation companies, but what they really do is you give them money once a month. They'll charge you a fee to give them money, and then they will pay your bills for you. Now that can work for some, but I don't suggest that because you're really paying an extra fee for somebody to manage your money that you don't have to pay. And a lot of times those companies are not reputable in that they are taking your money, but they're not actually paying your bills. Did I answer your question?
Thank you so much. Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
There's
All
a
right.
few questions in the chat as well. I want to go, Zakia, I believe, asked, once they remove it, does your score increase, right? So once they remove something, does your score increase?
It depends on what they remove. If it's a charge off, potentially no. If it is a collections, yes.
Okay.
But a charge off, because the charge off gets you lose the points when the charge off goes in, and there's no impact because the company has written that debt off, so there's no impact to your score if you pay it off. The only thing that will do though is if you go in to get a mortgage companies, car lenders is too, but mortgage companies for the most part don't like to see charge-offs on your credit report. So the reason you would pay it and not get any points is because you want to have a better chance of getting a mortgage. And like I said, mortgage lenders don't like to see charge-offs on your credit report.
And Angelique has a great question. Speaking of debt consolidation, any comments on the government student relief program? What are your thoughts on that, Kevin?
So the Biden administration has started paying some of the student loan debt as part of their debt relief package. But you're getting a lot of calls from these companies that saying you qualify. Just do your research. The Better Business Bureau was the first place that you're going to start, but look at the reviews for these companies to make sure that they are reputable, because a lot of these companies are straight scams. So don't go with the first. Make sure at minimum the company is registered with the Better Business Bureau. I don't know if you guys, there was a student loan debt relief company called AmeriCredit or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but they are in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit right now because they took people's money and there was no student loan consolidation. They were just straight taking the money. So just be aware.
I'm talking about that. There's two questions as a follow-up. One is, should you pay anything that is old for over 7 years? Because it is said that if you start making payments, it reopens up your credit. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep, that's that date of last activity is what that's called. And the answer to your question is no, you should not. If it's older than 7 years, no. And if it's at 6 years, I still wouldn't tell you to pay it unless you absolutely need to get it off your credit report because you're doing something like applying for a mortgage. But the minute that you make a payment on it, it resets the date of last activity to that date, means you now have another 7 years. So let's say you owed a debt, let's say you owed a $5,000 debt, and you said, I want to make a $500 payment on it because I want to start getting it down. The day you make that payment, it resets that debt to 7 years. So now if you stop making those payments, that debt is going to stay on your credit report for another 7 years from that point.
That is very interesting. And I guess it was a question about people stealing or, you know, doing fraudulent things with the government student relief program. But we also have a lot of companies out there on the web or, you know, on social media saying, you know, we're going to fix your credit in less than 30 days. You're going to make this, you're going to make that. And you're paying all these. I've heard many people pay a lot of money to these organizations or these companies, and they get no outcomes, right? And also comparing them like to something like Credit Karma or something like that, you know. So are those things that I guess this will be two questions. Have you heard, and how do you verify if a company is I guess can do work? How do you verify that? Like how do you remove the frauds from the real people?
So the first things first, if somebody tells you in this industry, if somebody tells you that they can guarantee your score will go up in 30 days or less, do not use that company because that's illegal. It's called guaranteeing, and that is a legal practice. That's an illegal practice. So that's the first way you can weed them out. The second thing is if they tell you they can do it in 30 days or less, ask them how. What are you going to do? And if they don't give you a process, if they don't say we're going to do this, 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 and this, then that's another flag. And then the only way to fix credit is time and or money. The time is we're going to send letters or we're going to make calls to your creditors and try to get some of this negative reporting removed, or we're going to use money, your money, to settle with collections. Now, can a company raise your score in 30 days? Absolutely. It's easy to do because all you have to do is pay down your credit card bills, but that's something that you can do. So we are a credit counseling company. We do both personal and business credit. The first thing that I tell our clients is you want to get the quickest return on your investment of credit, or you want to get the quickest increase in credit, pay down your credit cards. But the other things that we have to do take some time. So if somebody tells you they can do it in 30 days outside of paying your credit cards off and potentially getting something removed, I would stay away from that. And if they tell you they can guarantee, that's illegal. Don't go with them.
Thank you, Kevin. I have Angelique. I believe she has a question. She has her hand raised.
Yep.
Couple of years ago, I participated in this program. I don't know if you're familiar with it, called the Financial Peace University
Yep.
by
That's
David
Dave
Ramsey.
right?
Yeah, I followed his principles and I got out of over $10,000 in debt in like 9 months. Just following his teaching principles.
Yep.
And the other thing I learned in that process, and tell me what you think about this, but it worked for me at that time. What's your thinking on, like when you get these credit card offers that say, I've had friends, you know, who gotten degrees who use this model too and buy cars and everything. But people, you get the credit card offers that come in the mail that said they'll give you, if you transfer a balance, they'll give you no interest for 18 months. And I've taken advantage of things like that myself, where if I had a credit card that I had a lot of money on and I had a high interest, I'll just, transfer it over. But I transfer only those amounts over that I know I can reasonably afford to pay in those 18 months. I don't go transferring like a $10,000 or something like that off a credit card, and I'm only paying $50 a month towards that credit card. I knew that, based on my calculations, that based on the amount I owed on this credit card, how much money would I have to pay within those 18 months in order to wipe out that debt? So that situation kind of worked for me. The other thing I learned too was some of these credit cards have these point programs. Like I had a AAA card, and after I paid, I owed them like $5,000 or something. It felt like I've been in that credit card over 16 years, just trying to pay off that same $5,000. So when I finally paid it off, I had all of these points or something. And so I called them and said, well, what can I do with these points? So they tried to tell me I could pay on my AAA bill. I could pay for a AAA auto, what is it? When you get your car off the road, I can go in the AAA store and use it towards credit for, things in the store. So I said, you don't give any money back for this? So they don't tell you that sometimes unless you ask, or it's the last thing that they would recommend you. And by the time I paid that credit card off, I had enough points to give me back $180. I said, Miss, you better send me my money because I ain't getting ready to use this credit card no more.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the plus, just knowing that if you're in a credit card that has those points and stuff, and you've accumulated a lot of points like I did over all them years, if it's some money to get back, go for your money.
Absolutely. And you can. I'm going to speak to something that you said, though, to be careful, because you have to be careful with transferring balances in that it's a great idea, but remember, your credit age is impacted. So if you get a new credit card, it's going to lower your credit age, which is going to lower your credit score. Not a lot, but a little. But you may get more points in the credit utilization going down than you lose in the credit age. But just be aware of credit age, but also be aware of your inquiries, because a good credit report, as you guys can see here, has no more than 3 hard inquiries per credit bureau. So if you keep transferring those balances, every one of those cards is going to come with an inquiry. And if you amass too many inquiries, you can get denied credit because people are going to say you have too many inquiries. So just be careful and strategize how you do it. It's a great idea. So, and you were able to use it well.
Yeah,
just
because
be aware of those two caveats.
Yeah, the place that I transferred it to was already an account I had that I really wasn't using much, but I had it for years. And so they sent me something in the mail one day saying, well, if I transfer a balance, they'll give me 18 months, free at no interest. So I mapped it out to like $250 a month. That would have knocked me out of that debt or whatever. But it was already a credit card that I kind of had, but I wasn't using.
Mhm.
And maybe that was a way to get, so is that still as bad if it was already a card that I had?
No, because it wasn't a new card.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
Now, Damaris, I think we have time for Diane's question. Do we have
Yes,
time?
so we have about a few more minutes, so absolutely, yes, Diane?
Hi,
Hi.
my question is a line of credit versus a credit card, is that better than having a credit card?
Not better or worse, just depends on interest rate. So if you're talking a line of credit that has an interest rate of 10% versus a credit card that has 19%, then yes, the line of credit is better. Flip side, if you're looking at a credit card that has 10%, line of credit that has 19%, credit card is better. So the interest rate is really what determines what's better.
Okay, so how do you get a credit card without a whole lot of backlash? Meaning I had a credit card for years, but I only used it for if I was traveling or something. So as that kept decreasing, I stopped using it. So they took it back because I wasn't using the card. So now, and I was just holding on to it, not knowing that they was going to take it. So it's been kind of like, I don't want to go through a whole bunch of debt to get a credit card that I missed, just wanted, because everybody's asking, where your credit card, where your credit card? I don't have a credit card. But that's why I was saying, like, do I use the line of credit money versus not having a credit card to be more feasible? Or is there a way you can't really work it out like that?
You can work it out like that, but the difficulty, Diane, is twofold. One, the line of credit would work better for you in that instance because you don't use the credit until you need it, right?
Mhm,
That's why you
mhm.
didn't use that credit card, because you only use it when you needed it. So it would
Right.
work better for your lifestyle. However, a credit profile has, see this credit mix? It has 2 installment accounts, 3 revolving accounts, and 2 open accounts. If you
Mhm.
don't have any credit cards, you don't have any revolving accounts, and you certainly won't have any open accounts. That
Mhm.
credit line is going to go under the installment account. So if you have a car loan and that credit line, you'll have the 2 installment accounts, but you won't have the other 5 accounts,
Mhm.
which means your credit is not going to be as good as it possibly can. So it would behoove you to have the credit cards and the credit line. And on the credit cards, just use them regularly. Buy gas, pay it down, buy gas, pay it down.
But the
So
interest
that you
rates is
have the
so
correct
ridiculous.
profile.
Let's look at some of the interest rate they have. I'm like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it though. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, Kevin, how would folks be able to get in contact with you?
I'm glad you asked that question. Here we are. Our office is at 30th and Cecil B. Moore. That's our phone number. This is our website. And if you want to email me.
So we have Premisien Credit Counseling, 3002 Cecil B. Moore, and that is 19121 section of the city. And the email is info@premisien.com. I also have, hopefully you guys can get down to your free workshops tomorrow. Tomorrow, is that correct?
Yes, tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at 201 South 40th Street in the Free Library of Philadelphia. Kevin, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming here and spitting your knowledge on credit repair, and everyone for asking all the right questions. I really appreciate you guys coming in. I hope this training and webinar was useful for you guys. And again, if you need more information or looking for more information, need some more help or some more resources, please contact Kevin. His phone number again is 215-904-8690. And I will be sharing the recording on our websites just in case you missed anything, and his information is also going to be on our website. Thank you, everyone.
Zakia, I see you, part 2. It's up to
Part
you.
two.
Part 2
So
is
we
up to
are
you.
having a part 2. I forgot to mention that. We are having a part 2. The next one is credit, how to build credit and business practices, right?
right.
So there's going to be one for business as well. And then Kevin and I are going to talk about probably breaking this down a little bit. Like, how can you do this, in this section? So stay tuned. It's not over yet.
It's
All right.
only just begun.
We
Thank
only-
you guys for spending your time with me. I truly appreciate it.
Kevin, real quick, the session that you're having at the free library, is this the first session?
It's the second session. The first session was on payment history. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going over credit utilization and how you can use that to impact your credit. And if you can attend, it's going to be very informative, because I'm going to tell you something that most people are unaware of. And I'm going to give it to this group as well. It's a 3.9%, but if you come tomorrow, you'll get it. And Damaris, we'll work out a time where I'll give that information. If you want that information, just reach out to me and I'll give it to you directly.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.